And I'm back. So yeah, I was looking at this gross monstrosity that I managed to climb from the depths and somehow Tsumo. That was disgusting by all parts. Okay, so yeah, that was a fun game. I got down to like 5,000 points, and then I got back up to 40,000 points. Tenhou. Never give up. Okay, so let's go over the notes for that game, which there's a decent amount of them. Especially because I had a lot of things where it's like, oh, really good one Shanten, I want to push, and then trying to find that very, very vague line of, okay, it's okay to push here, and you're going to deal into a Yakuman. Like, hard line to find. Alright, so, as always, whenever I do the review, it's live, as opposed to whenever I play the game, it's delayed by 5 minutes. So, if you have any questions, feel free to ask on the chat, and I will answer them as soon as I look in that direction. So, let's start with East 2-0, 5th turn, 7th turn, and 9th turn reach. So, 5th turn, I am... Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, this is kind of nice. So, here we got a hands, which is very iffy. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so 2 Shanten, technically. Not that bad, but unfortunately, someone's in reach. So, what do? We can either defend against them with our red 5-pin, break up one of our shapes, drop back to 3 Shanten, and then pray to God that we get some more information. Or we can slightly push forward. Now, considering that we only have one safe tile at this point, I think pushing forward is slightly better, not to mention the thing that we do have to push forward right here is the Haku, which isn't that super bad compared to, like, the tiles that we're going to have to push anyway, if we do run out of safe tiles. So yeah, that one I think was pretty reasonable. If only that you don't have a better option. Now, at this point, it's like, well, 6-pin is also probably safe, because 9-pin right here, 5-pin, 5-pin, 5-pin. 6-pin looks pretty okay, unless it's like a beautiful trap that they planned all along, but unlikely. And we also have 2 so's, so now we have a couple safe tiles. But we have East comes in our hands, so we can either drop... Yeah, now, this is the point where it starts to get a little bit questionable. So, at this point, it's like, do we push honor tiles to maybe potentially get into the Tenpai that we can Richi and fight against, especially since the door is like the 1-pin as well? Or do we just like straight up fold our hand as dealer? Normally I would say, fold your hand, what are you doing? Stop fighting. But more and more lately I've been thinking, maybe fighting is not that bad. Maybe it's just being in this crazy room and everything is just like, push or die. So yeah, I'm going to post this up on the Discord chat as well, in the competitive Richi Discord, or competitive Richi hub. So right here I think, yeah, probably East is still generally okay. Now we get to this, and now this is a lot more questionable, but what do? So right now we're 1 Shanten from Richi, potentially Penfu, potentially Dora. Or, well, wait, guaranteed Dora. So Richi, potentially, you know, something else. So if we get to Richi Dora, that's still good enough to fight a non-dealer reach, especially this early on with a 1-pin Dora. So are we willing to risk the 7? Right now, how bad is the 7? Well, they Richi'd on the, what is this, 4th turn. So anything on the last 2 discards for everyone is safe for them now. So everyone else has been dropping Genbutsu, and then honor tiles. So how many Suji tiles, in other words, how many potential double-sided weights do they have left available? The reason why this question is important is because double-sided weights make up a pretty hefty percentage of all Richis, especially early Richis and later Richis, and yeah, basically Richi in general. People love reaching on double-sided weights because it's a Tsumo game, right? You want Tsumo. Since that's the case, if you know the amount of Suji tiles remaining, which there's 18 in total. If it was something like, oh, there's only 2 Suji tiles remaining, throwing one of those remaining Suji tiles is probably a pretty bad idea. But if there's like 15 remaining, that's not that bad. So right here we can count. So with the 9-pin gone, the 9-6 pin is dead. With the 5-pin gone, the 5-2 pin and the 5-8 pin are dead. 2 so, 2 5 so, 2 mon, 2 5 mon. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 13 Suji tiles remaining, which isn't that bad. And this one is on the edge, so it's not like as bad as dropping a middle tile. So it's like, 1 out of 13 if they are technically waiting on a double-sided weight. So yeah, I think this is also a reasonably okay push. At least the current me does. I just might be high on pushing everything though. Ooh, the 4-so. That's a little bit more dangerous push. Wait, why did I drop the 4-so there? I should drop the 7-mon. Oh, that's why I dropped the 4-so. Huh, that's interesting. I should still drop the 7-mon there, or 7-mon there though, I think. Well, actually, maybe not. So to early reach, 3-mon and 7-mon are usually pretty bad, or at least as bad as any other Musuji tile. Or even if it is Suji, it's still like as bad as like not Suji, because 1-2 shapes like Penchon weights with early reaches are pretty common. It's kind of interesting. So the 4-so right now, if we look at the 2-so, has 3 out. So technically it's a 1 chance on the 1-4-sosu side, but it's still pretty dangerous on the 4-7-sosu side. So like for pure like Suji purposes, 7-mon's probably better. But if they had like an early like 3-mon or 3-so, 5-so weight, or 3-so, 3-5-so waiting on the 4-so kanchan, they probably wouldn't take that on the 4th turn unless they had something like amazing for it, because that's pretty easy to improve, right? You have another floating tile like the 5-pin. You throw out the 3-so, and now you can get a 6-so-zu, a 4-pin-zu, or a 6-pin-zu. But in the case of like a middle tile, or I mean an edge tile, like if you have like a 1-2 or an 8-9, those are a lot harder to improve. Which is why people, if they are stuck with those, are a little bit more likely to take those than they are like random middle tiles. Some exceptions might be like the 5-so-zu, the 5, because there's also the red Dora chance. So maybe 4 is not that bad in that reasoning. Yeah. All 1 Shanten pushes are basically pretty questionable to me right now. It's definitely a thing. It's just kind of figuring out like what is the thing, because I clearly do not know. Yeah. I mean, considering that I'm dealer, I have 1 Dora, and there's also 13 Suji tiles remaining, I don't mind pushing right here. The question is, should I push the 7-mon, or should I push this 4-so-zu? I'm kind of leaning towards the 4-so-zu right now, actually. Mainly because the 1-4-so-zu is 1 chance currently, and it's still early on. 4-7-so-zu is still dangerous. The 4-7-mon-zu is still dangerous. And all things considered, usually that would mean you throw the 7 Manzu first, but considering it's an early reach, maybe that's bounds for throwing the 7 first? It's kind of interesting. Kind of interesting. Send this to literally everyone I know. Alright. And so yeah, I decided to push the 4 sods over here. And then when I ended up drawing this right here, it's like, well, I could drop the 5 pin, because it's technically safe, but we have a wall of the 5 pins, early 9 pin, we can see all 4 of them. 8 pin is pretty highly unlikely. It could be a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Chichoitsu trap on the 4th turn, but if that's the case, I will, like, deal in. Good stuff. Then I hit Senpai, and so now it's like, well, technically, Richidora won as dealer. Dora is also a hard-to-use 1 pin, and it's against a 4th turn reach. Yeah, I don't mind pushing anything at this point. Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, these one-shanten push things are still pretty new to me. There's a very fine line between, like, recklessly pushing and, like, pushing with expected value that's better than folding. And it's difficult to find exactly where that is. Especially in this room, where you think, like, oh, I got my early bad weight Ricci, you know, everyone's gonna fold against me. And then they just, like, push random stuff, and you're like, what? And then they Ricci, and you're like, what? And then they run, and they're like, what? And then it's like, you know, not, like, great, but still good enough to fight with. Because people pushing with hands is not that strange, even if, like, in, like, middle, like, Tokujo area, with, like, let's say 3 6-dans on the table. If you're a 6-dan and you got, like, a nice, like, beautiful, like, Mongon, pretty close, 1 Shanten hand, someone reaches, yeah, you don't care, go for it. But if you have, like, this, normally you're like, yeah, I'll just fold. Like, you know, why would I push this? Maybe you should fold this. Everything is questionable to me. How much can you push? Alright, next question. East 3-0, and this is another very fun one. 6 turn. Oh no, this one was a little bit better. So we have 2 Dora right here, and we draw the 6. Should we take the instant 1 Shanten by dropping probably the 4, because this has a little bit better improvement? And I think probably, yeah, because if we do draw a direct 8 pin, if we do even draw maybe, like, the 3 Mon, we might be willing to risk. It's only 3 tiles, but it's still, like, Dora right there, so... Yeah, I think we should probably maybe kind of sort of drop the 4. Even if we do draw the 3 pin and we don't want... I mean, I'd still probably take that Tenpai. The 9 is... yeah, I'd still probably take that Tenpai. The 9 Mon's not, like, super great, because already 1's out and the other weight's Dora, but even so, that's still Mongon potential. In the words of Horiuchi, if you have at least 2 tiles left on your weight and you're in Tenpai for a guaranteed potential, like, Mongon or something, then it's like, yeah, go for it. Yeah. So probably. Probably. I'm very questionable about everything I do nowadays. I cannot say with 100% certainty of literally any choice that I have. Which I guess is kind of good and kind of bad. Or maybe it's more so like, this is the best choice, probably, of what I think is the best choice that anyone can find? Most definitely not. Because, you know, there is a mountain beyond a mountain, something like that. Yeah. Alright. Next question. East, 3-1, third turn, sixth turn, and last drop. Oh, actually, let's look at this deal in real quick. So, why was the reason for the deal in here? So, yeah, I don't mind this, actually. So, we're one Shanten away from, yeah, I remember this one. We're one Shanten away from Riichi Tudora. We have a 5 in a row shape right now. We could technically drop the 4 too, but dealer's looking pretty suspicious, so we don't want to drop the 4 right here. One Manzu is not out anywhere, but it doesn't look that bad, especially since there's a Toitsu drop right here, 4 Manzu right here. 9 is safe, so we want to drop the 4 Mon first. Like I said before, whenever you see a 3 Mon or like a Toitsu drop, usually that means they're probably not Tenpai yet. The exception is if they, you know, like drop and then they call something and then drop, they might very well be in Tenpai. But just like 2 drops from their hand like this usually indicate they're probably not in Tenpai and that they need 1 more tile. They could have instantly drawn into it, but that's kind of unlikely because you have to get the perfect draw. Now in this case, what actually was their hand and what did they have? So yeah, look, right here. So when they drop the first one right here, there's still 1 Shanten, right? Even if they draw like a safe tile or something next turn, they'll just still drop the 3 Mon, finish up dropping this shape potentially. But unfortunately right here, they instantly drew into Tenpai. And that's when it's like, explosion! Which will sometimes happen. But yeah, especially with like the 4 Mon coming out right here and that, I do not mind dropping the 1 Mon here. Like, if I saw the same exact situation again, I still think you should probably drop the 1 Mon. Yes, it is dangerous to the dealer, but with the information that we can see most of the time, like, this is going to mean that, like, this is the moment to drop it. If you don't drop it right now, you're not going to have a chance later. Alright. Let's see. Next up. This fun hand. Third turn. Hey, this is cool. Oh yeah, this one. I was getting a little too... Well, I don't know about this, actually. Maybe. Yeah, I think so. I was getting a little bit too, like, what's the word? Focused on the 5, 6, 6, 7 shape. I'm like, oh, I don't need a 3. But considering that I still need a pair and it's still early on, I should go for greed, especially with a couple Dora, Tenhou. So I should drop Hatsu right here over 3-pin. Instead I drop 3-pin. I'm like, oh crap, you should be very greedy in the first row. Like, this is your greed row. Your second row is the one where you're like, okay, I better bunker down a little, start maybe slimming down my shapes, grabbing a safe tile or 2. And then the last row is like danger zone. It's basically a minefield at that point. But yeah, so I probably should have thrown Hatsu right there instead of the 3-pin. And going forward. Okay, now this is kind of fun. So once again, it's like Riichi, and we have 1 safe tile. 2 Mon is also kind of suspicious here, because they dropped the 5 Mon, and then they dropped a 1 Mon from their hands. What does that mean? It probably means they have something in their hand around 1 Mon. Or it could just be a random, you know, safe overflow tile. A little bit not as likely, though. So if it is, like, dropping the 1 Mon, there's a decent chance, like, you know, if they were, like, 1 Shanten away and they had 2 incomplete shapes, that's, like, 50% chance right there, if that is the case, that they completed a shape that wasn't the thing around the 1 Mon. So 2 Mon, even though it's, like, Suji of the 5, is not that safe. So we should treat this as a pretty dangerous tile. Probably more dangerous than, like, even, like, I don't know, the 7 so at this point even. I don't know if I'd go that far, but probably. So, start off, instead of dropping the 5 Mon, right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're 2 Shanten with Tenhou, Dora, Chance Hand. Not that bad, right? So yeah, dropping Pei, which is already a 1-cut, is a pretty small risk for keeping a lot of potential reward. Then we draw the 3. Now it's like, alright, we're immediately 1 Shanten. Now, this is a very fun situation, because this right here is like the do or die situation. So we can play it safe and drop the 5 mon, but should we play it safe right here? Currently to the Riichi, there is currently, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 Suji tiles accounted for. In other words, 14 Suji tiles unaccounted for. Since that's, or 14 Sujis unaccounted for. Since that's the case, we have a really, really, really good 1 Shansen right here. We have a Yonrenke with the 2, 3, 4, 5 Manzu. We have, 2 Dora in our hand, potential Tanyao, potential Pinfu. Like, this is straight up a Mongon plus fighting hand with an amazing shape. So, rather than dropping the 5 mon, at which point we can get Tenpai on the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 and 9 mon, or 9 Sozu, we can throw the 7 here, and then we can get to Tenpai on the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the Sozu, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, Monzu. So yeah, I kind of like that option. I don't know, is there actually that many tiles more? So how many tiles do we actually gain from this? This is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 4 minus 4 is basically 7 times, or 6 times 4, so 24 tiles, minus the ones we can see out on the board, which is like an extra 3. So that's like 21 tiles from this shape versus like this 7 so by itself. Basically gives us the 7, the 8, and the 9, which is 12 tiles minus the ones we can see, including this one. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So only 7 tiles. So 7 tiles versus 21 extra tiles. Yeah, but I kind of like the early push here, especially because it's just like a death hand. Now, I think I screwed this up majorly. So 8's kind of okay, Suji. Hey, what is this guy doing? 6 came out right here, and now, actually, yeah, this is, yeah. So early 3 pin, walled off. 1 pin looks pretty good.
Boom.
This guy's opening up. We can't see any Dora. We don't want to drop the Dora to this point, at this point. And now we got the 7 Monzu. So we're Tenpai, right? But the problem is that 1 6 is right here, 1 6 is right here. This 6 is pretty bad. And if we were to, like, get into Tenpai with this, like, with all 4 of the 6s left, yeah, we could potentially just say, go for it. We have Tanyao, Dora, even if we have to drop this one. 5,200 points. Even if we have to drop a Dora, that's enough to fight the Reach. The problem here is that we don't just have to drop the Dora to the Reach. We have to drop the Dora to this guy, who's basically just like, hey, I like pushing too. Whee! Now, why are they pushing? They could just have a cheap hand and they're willing to throw the tiles that they threw. Or they could have something worth fighting for, potentially even like Mongon potential with like a Shabo of the Dora or something. So dropping the Dora to fight against like a singular threat for a good Tenpai is no problem. Dropping the Dora to take a Tenpai that's not that bad, but it's pretty bad right now because 2 of the 6 Monzus are gone. And there's another threat on the field as well, and they're the dealer. We can't do it in that case. So what should we drop here? If we want to use the Dora, how can we actually use that? So the easiest way right here is, well, we can't drop 2 Mon because it's unsafe. 8 Mon technically came out over here, but when did they pull in their stuff?
Boom.
So 8 Mon, 5 Mon is still kind of dangerous, but at least we can see 2 of the 6s. Yeah, it's still kind of dangerous to them. But even if we deal in with that, that might not actually hurt that bad. Unless, of course, they have like a Dora pair in their hand, which would kind of hurt. Or if they have, like, red Dora. But even if they have red Dora, the chance that they're waiting on the 5 is only if, like, a Shabo. And that's a pretty sad Shabo right there. Huh. But yeah, so if we do want to technically keep the potential of this hand alive, because, like, if we draw a 3-pin, or 3 Sozu, 5 Sozu, like, instantly, like, amazing Tempai. We don't have to throw the door at that point to reach. 5 Manzu is still safe for the dealer, or for the Riichi. It's unsafe for this person, but it's at least safe for them. Should we drop the 5 here? 2 Mon, like I mentioned before, is unsafe because of their Riichi tile. And then if we do end up getting to Tempai at that point, we'd be willing to risk to throw the 7 Manzu. Dealer is probably in Tempai, though. So I guess the big question here is, like, what are they in Tempai with? Difficult. Because the Faimon's clearly, like, still dangerous for the dealer, but if we do fold to the dealer and the Riichi, we have some options. We can drop the 4-pin and the 8-pin. That's basically our only options. So it's not that great. Plus, this is, like, a really beastly one Shanten that we're kind of giving up in that case. I kind of want to push the 5, but I don't know. It's really hard to get a read on, like, you know, how much, like, this is. Like, they have 2 shapes remaining, right? So, they could potentially, technically, even have, like, 3 Dora in their hand, and waiting on, like, a safe tile of this guy, which would be pretty awesome. So, questionable. Giving up this Tempai is pretty harsh, but it might actually be the best thing to do at this point, considering that they have 3 calls. They just dropped the Tatsu, and they're probably in Tempai. Yeah. And if I do deal into the dealer and they do have a pair of the Dora, that's like at least 5,800 plus the Honba, so 6,100. Not ideal. Maybe I should fold? I think I'm going to post this question on Twitter. Let's see, what turns were all the calls on? 7巡目、8巡目、9巡目. Or actually,
Home.
Tune was on me. Let's see, then 8 was on, which one was that? 7巡目?
C.
And this one was technically on the 9th.
Wrong.
Oh no, that's my
Home.
7 pin on the 8th. To me. Alright, looks good. And post that on the Twitch as well. Alright, so next up. What are we in right now? East 3-1. Let's go to South 1-1, second turn. Actually, before that, what was the situation right here? Oh yeah, this one.
Eat.
I got Senpai on that, waiting on the 4 pin where all the 3s are walled off. Okay. So, South 1-1, second turn. How did I mess this up? Ooh, this is an interesting hand. 1 pin, or I guess probably 9 mons, or 9 pin first. Yeah, this one. Should have thrown actually 9 pin or 1 pin first before the 1 mon here. I was like, oh, I'm not gonna, drop the 3 mons any, so. And I'm probably gonna go for open Tanya with this hand, so I'm like, oh, I don't need 1 mon. But all things considered, if I get the 8 pin draw, it doesn't affect me any. If I get the 2 mon draw, though, I could technically use the other 3 mon, like with another Shinsu or with another run. So, yeah, I probably should have kept 1 mon there over 9 pin. Tenhou. Alright, next up, South 2-0. First turn, 5th turn, 10th turn, and 16th turn. This hand was amazing. And by amazing, I mean this hand was horrible. So let's start this out. I got 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, 4 block, 5 blocks. So technically 5 blocks. Lone 1 pin, 9 pin. And I could potentially move this hand to Tanyao relatively easy. Like, this is pretty strong for Tanyao, this is pretty strong for Tanyao. So the question here is, do I want to drop Tune right now, or do I want to drop it later? If I really... Well, we're in South 2. If this guy ends up getting a Tune later on, I'd be really sad. If this guy or this guy gets it, I'm not that sad. And if I miss it, well, I have a hand to make up for it at least, so that's kind of like the plan. So should I drop this now or not? Now, if I want to drop it now, this is technically the turn that has the lowest chance of someone calling Shun. Plus, I'm already at 5 blocks right now, and so it's almost a version of slimming down. Not all 5 blocks are that great, though. Like, I have an 8-9 pin, Penchon, not that great. But considering that I do have the potential for Tanyao, most likely, unless I happen to get another tune, I am going to be dropping it later on to continue forward with this hand. And if I do actually want to close the distance between me and second and first and get away from last, I kind of need to win this hand. If I hold on to it and someone, like, if I drop it later and someone does call, I need to fold because I can't deal in at this point. If I deal in, I'll be basically in last place going into South 3, which is not a good situation. All of that considered, it's like, well, do I drop it now or do I want to be greedy and wait for the chance for it? And I was thinking, well, yeah, I already have like a potential Tanyao chance. I already have a potential Dora chance. I can use the other 2 red Doras. Let's drop the tune. Is that good or not? I don't know. That's what I went with. Yeah. And luckily no one called. And of course, if they do call, then I just kind of like hide at that point. Unless it's this person, then I rush for a quick 1,000 point or 2,000 point like Tanyao hand. Alright, so going forward a little. Skip to the 5th turn. Now at this point, I have a pretty interesting hand situation going on right here. I think I screwed this up though. So in this case, I'm like, oh, I can potentially get the Ipeiko right here, and I'm also technically like 2 away from Chitoitsu as well. So I'm like, I can drop like 8 Sozu and keep that. But by dropping 8 Sozu, I'm losing the Ryanmen Kanchan shape, which is this 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 8 shape, which can take in a 7, and then I drop the 4. So 8's pretty useful here. In comparison, what other shapes do I have? I mean, technically I have like 1, 2 blocks right here, 3, 4, 5. So I don't want to drop the 8 pin because that's kind of harsh on my blocks. So it's probably going to be a Sozu tile. I do have already a completed Mensu. I have some pretty good shapes and Hanyao. So probably should ignore Chitoitsu right here and probably just drop the 8 Sozu, or the 6 Sozu over the 8 Sozu, because that gives me that 4 extra Ukeire on the 7 Sozu. Even though I lose Itsu chance, or I mean Ipeiko chance, I mean I already have Tanya Aldora. Like, it's not big of a loss, that much of a loss. And I can also get Pinfu, and I can also get Richi, so yeah. I could even technically get like Sanshoku. There's a lot I can do with this hand. So yeah, probably should drop 6 over 8 right there.
Eat.
Then the fun occurs. Wow. Alright, let's defend. The best to our ability. Well, crap, now what? Once again, we defend to the best of our ability. What does that mean? Well, 3 through 6 are all pretty dangerous tiles, so what's the only not 3 through 6 tile we have? The 8 pin. Alright. Then we drop the... Oh. At this point... Yeah, this is actually kind of interesting. So, Shonpai... Actually, yeah, that was kind of bad, I think. Shonpai... It's not Shonpai, though. It's like... I think I missed that. I thought it was Shonpai, except there's one right here. I should drop Chun right here, because one cut Chun is a lot safer than Nakatsuji right now. Because we have the 2 and the 8 out. So I should have dropped Chun before 5 pin here. Mistake on my part. Alright, and suddenly I am actually somehow magically 1 Shanten again with Richi, Pinfu, Tanyao, Dora. Not bad. Or is it? So then I draw this 7 and it's like, I can't drop any Sozu. Sozu is like stupidly dangerous right now, right? I don't want to drop Manzu either. Manzu's pretty dangerous as well. So what else do I drop? I can drop the 4, the 5, and the 6 pin because all those are safe. So it's like, okay, I guess I'll start dropping here. Now, this was a big mistake. The reason why was because this right here. So, what's the significance of the 6 pin? Well, if you notice, we can see a couple 8 pins out. But aside from that, and a 3 pin, but aside from that, the 6 pin is actually like a Suji tile, right? So they could still be waiting on the 6-8 pin, and they are willing to push the 6 pin. What does that mean? That's a push. When we see that push, rather than dropping the 6 pin first, we should have dropped the 4 pin or the 5 pin first, so that if this is a push and they do Richi next turn, we can defend against that with the 6 pin. So I kind of missed that, and then what do you know? Richi! So at this point, it's like, well, I got a safe tile right here. Now I'm really kind of scared about this 3-mon, because if this right here was a, let's say, I don't know, a 2, 4, 6 shape, and they Richi'd on the 6, waiting on the 3 Manzu, I might be screwed. Because 3 Manzu is still nowhere out there right now, and Morohikake Richi is not that rare. So yeah, I'm really scared of this 3-mon. I really don't want to drop it if I can help it. And I draw an 8, which is, all of this is like really scary, and I can't drop it. So it's like, well, Pinzu is like a lot out there. We can see 1, 2, 3, 4 Pinzus. We can see a couple of the 6 Pinzus. We can see all of the 3 Pinzus. So, and they're both safe to this guy, not to this guy, but it's better than anything else that we have. So dropping the 5 and the 4 Pinzu first. Probably the 4 Pinzu, I'm guessing. Probably 4 Pinzu first. 5 Pinzu, yeah. Probably 4 Pinzu first right there. Mainly because all the 3s are dead. And then once again, it's like, No safe tiles! Alright, just go with the 4-pin. And then we got the tune. It's like, okay, that's good at least. I mean, it's still technically a 1 chance, and they could technically try to trap me, but it's better than anything else I have. And then we draw the 2 Sozu, and now it's like, well, all of our hand is pretty dangerous. 2 Sozu is safe for this person, but it's still dangerous for this person. We don't see, like, any Sozu out right now. We have this ones in our hands, but of course we have no walls. We just have, like, pairs, and so there's still a lot of chance to be waiting on Sozu tiles. Since that's the case, even at this point, if Motohikake Richi, like 6-mon waiting on the 3 is really dangerous, then it's technically a Shonpai. I was thinking maybe should drop the 3-mon here. Now, Tuso actually might be a little bit more okay, but yeah, everything I have is just really dangerous. What do I drop here, actually? This is a good question. Explosion. Yeah. Yeah. My weight's pretty cool, though, if I do drop the 3-mon. It's a 258 weight, except it's free 10 on the 8. But yeah, do I drop the 3-mon here, which is Shonpai, or do I drop the Tuso, which is Musuji for one of the Richis, but at least it's not Shonpai. But I still can't see any of the other 3-sos and 4-sosus, so it's kind of pretty dangerous. Though then again, for the 3, I can see 2 of the 4 Monzus, and I can see, let's see, a couple of the 2 Monzus, a couple of the 1 Monzus, so 3-mon's still pretty dangerous too. Click. Yeah. Another question that I have no idea. Yeah, in this case I went 3 Monzu. I don't know if that was that good or not. I probably should have went 2, so I don't know. Like, Musuji versus, like, Shonpai at this point is very questionable. Not to mention, like, I don't think the Tuso is actually that safe because Suji to Shonpai is also pretty bad. For instance, like, the 5 Sozu isn't out yet, right? So this person waiting on the 2 5 Sozu is, like, still pretty available. Or at least in this case, it's not Pinfu. But this could deal into either of them. So many questionable things. But I guess there is a lot of Shonpai at this point, so maybe dropping a not Suji tile is okay. Or maybe dropping a Suji tile here is technically okay. And then the gods had mercy on me, and they're like, here, my son, please, take this. And I'm like, thank you.
Sumo.
Yeah, that was stupid. This entire hand was just a very, just like, that crying, continual crying. Alright, next up, South 2-1, 4th turn and 5th turn. Oh yeah, this one. So I technically have Ishanten from Sanshoku, Tanyao, potentially Pinfu, and Adora right now. So is there any point in keeping the 6? I can technically get, like, Ipeiko as well, but considering my shapes, yeah, I think the full 1 Shanten is better. So probably the 6 here. Because even if I do keep this around, I'm, like, basically going to be losing, like, the same thing, and it's, like, trading the chance of Itsu for the chance of Sanshoku. Which Sanshoku's a bit better because it's worth 2 Han if closed. And if I open this hand, then it's, you know, still worth something as well. So if I get the 7, like, I'd probably call that. Now, this is my second question. This person's 2 open, and they dropped 2 1-pin, and then followed by a 6-pin. Do I think their hand is fast enough that it means that I should open up this hand? Right now, we're in a close first, second, third situation. Dora is the south, which I can't see any of. And if I do take this, I'm instant Tempai, but it's on a bad weight. But it's instant Tempai for a Tiny Eldora 2,900 point hand. Not that great, but not that bad. I guess the important thing is that, oh, look, you're in Tempai, like, pretty close on, because if this was, like, you know, a really quiet board situation, you should probably pass this up, like, most always. You can easily get something else with that shape. Like, if the 7 comes out, 7 Sozu, you should call that. But Pinzu, probably not. But right here, someone's already 2 open. Should we call this? That's still kind of hard to say. Because we're losing a lot of potential right here, but I don't know. The Dora is kind of scary. Especially if they're going for, like, Honitsu with, like, that. That might be pretty big. It could even end the game right now if they, like, get a Mongon Sumo against last place. So I should probably call this. Probably. Maybe. Good. Is it worth factoring in Tempai? Oh, you're talking about the previous hand DDR, Dan? I guess it is technically worth factoring Tempai as well, because, like, if we drop the Tuso right there, like, you know, we can't get Tempai unless we're willing to drop the 3-mon later. And if we drop the 3-mon, we're, like, actually in Tempai, and so if we do get a safe tile the next turn, then that would give us Ryukoku payments as well. And we technically also have the chance to Tsumo the 2-5-8 Sozu weights. So considering Tempai, maybe it is worth the risk on that previous question. Interesting. But yeah, for this one, normally I would not call this, but considering that Toyman can die at like a snap of a finger with a Mongon Ron, which could potentially be that right there, and that they're already 2 open, I think I should probably take immediate Tempai with this. Well, is my reasoning, at least. Is that good reasoning? I have no idea. Just because you did something for a reason does not mean that it was correct. Yeah, it's kind of questionable. Make a picture of that, send that to my opposite, see what they say.
Chi. Home. Chi.
Paste. Microsoft Paint is such a great tool. I mean, I could just technically use like the select screenshot, but this seems more fun. All right.
Home.
Next up, 5th turn?
Home.
Yeah, this one. Even on this one, oh, actually, no, this was not 5th turn. This is technically 6th turn now. But on this one, I was willing to push this, mainly because I don't see overflow yet. Even if you have 3 calls without overflow, it's still a hard, like, you know, it's not that bad. Especially if it is Honitsu. It might not be Honitsu. It kind of looks like Honitsu, but it doesn't look drastic enough. If you see, like, open calls for Honitsu and you don't see any, like, 3 through 7 of the other suits, be suspicious. But yeah, without overflow and tempai, then it's like, yeah, I'm willing to risk. And see, the 4 came out, and it's like, you were lying to me all along. Now, I was really curious in the game, actually. What did they have? Oh, so look, they had, like, tempai on, like, the 5 Sozu. And then they decided to switch over. If you don't see, like, overflow... Oh, and then they got the red 5! Oh, that's so sad. And so then once you see the overflow, it's like, oh, they might be tempai now. Which is why I wasn't willing to throw the Dora. 20 men reached on the 6-9 Sozu weight, and then at that point I just fold to them. That's an unfortunate set of events right there. They didn't believe. Alright. Actually, I think this question right here, it came up in, like, Fukuchi's, like, push-pull thing, almost. Where it's like, if you're going for, like, a 3,900 point hand, it's better just to go for the Kawashite than it is to go for, the actual, like, Honitsu right here. But they could technically still get, like, the red 5, so maybe that's okay, since it can go up to Mangan. But if it was, like, the Dora, that's a little bit better. Alright. Last question. South, 4-1, 16th turn. Oh yeah, this one. I was wondering, should I go ahead and push the 8 Mon right now, so that if I do get into Tempai, I can push it later? And I still think the answer is probably no, because I'm not in Tempai yet. I only have, like, a couple draws anyway. If I do get into Tempai, maybe I can then risk it for the payments, but I don't really need the payments right now. If anything, I just need to avoid dealing into dealer. Oh, and then I also, let's see, do this. And then on the last draw, it's kind of sad, because it's like, oh god, no, I don't have any safe tiles for the dealer. What do I throw? I had a lot of the force... Actually, what should I have thrown here? So the 8 Sozus I can see 3 of, so 7 Sozu Suji's not that bad. 7 Sozu, or 8 Sozu itself's not super bad either, but still technically a 1. Oh no, it's a no chance, because the 6 is out. And 2 8s are out, so yeah, I should just throw 8. Alright, so that was okay. I didn't notice this last one in the game. But with this out, that means, like, the only way they're waiting on this is if it's a Tonki. So, that's pretty good. Alright. And, yeah, that's all of the questions I had for this very questionable game. So, thanks for watching, and I'm probably going to go run off and play Mahjong at Berkeley now. Hehehe. So, I'll be streaming, like, 4 games tomorrow, so see you around.